Hi, hello and welcome. This is your girl Deepz coming at you with a new video today. How to get over your insecurities. I hope you enjoyed this video and take something positive out of it. In today's video, I am going to talk about insecurities, and to be specific, physical insecurities and how to get over them and how I personally got over mine. Now, there isn't a single person that we know that doesn't have insecurities. Only difference is some people are better at dealing with them and some are better at hiding them. As if these insecurities weren't enough, social media just adds to it. And I'm sure you've heard this so many times, but with our constant need for approval by the number of likes we get on posts, by looking at people who post pictures of their amazing bodies, travel, food, and so on, it just makes the whole situation worse. Now, the real question is, how do you get over these insecurities? Well, I have good news for you. As with every question, there is a solution. But, there's always a but, with every solution you need to put in the work behind it. You need to have the courage to face those insecurities and be able to deal with them. Do you have that courage? Then let's get into it. Now, there are many obstacles getting in the way of allowing us to get over those insecurities. The main one is past criticism. A lot of our insecurities actually come from our families, relatives, siblings who keep mentioning those as we grow up, and these criticisms stay in your head forever and make you feel self-conscious about yourself. Now, I'm going to discuss my main insecurities and how I have been dealing with them and how I've been getting over them. For people who personally know me, know for a fact that I'm extremely self-conscious about my forehead. Now, I know for a fact that my forehead isn't the smallest one, but I also know it's not the biggest. I have seen, without causing any offense to anyone else, bigger foreheads than mine. But because since a young age, my family, my relatives have always kept mentioning that I have big forehead or large forehead, I always get self-conscious about it. I've always been told, don't put your hair up, don't do a high ponytail, don't do middle partings, always have bangs covering your forehead, and so and so. So although I personally didn't think I had a big forehead, but the fact that people close to me always make those remarks makes me question it and whether I actually should hide my forehead. And these kind of remarks stay in your head forever. I used to be so self-conscious about my forehead. I mean, if you scroll down to my previous Instagram post, you would see half of my face would be missing because I wouldn't like showing that on camera. And even to date, I mostly always have my hair done because I still don't like showing my forehead. But that has gotten better over the years, and I'll get to that in a second. But the main problem is, because they've kept on telling me that my forehead is large, I would always put my hair down and make sure my forehead isn't exposed. In fact, one day my brother randomly walked into my room. He goes, "Do you at least know 11 people?" And I go to him, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Well, I'm sure we can have a nice football match on your forehead." So of course, when I know he didn't mean any, harm or whatever, but things like that stay in your head forever and you just keep thinking about it over and over again. But here's how I managed to get over that particular insecurities. I have seen bigger foreheads than mine, so I know mine isn't the biggest. And to be honest, one thing I should stop doing is comparing myself to other people by looking at everyone's forehead, but that's just a constant thought in my head. Now, here's how I personally got over my insecurity about my forehead. Well, I'm still not completely over it. Very unlikely that you'll see me post a full picture of myself with my forehead exposed. That's not going to happen. But at least over the years, I've been able to go out in public with my hair up in a high bun or my hair clipped back. If I feel like doing that, then I'm going to do it, regardless of what everyone else thinks of my forehead. And that's exactly what I started doing. I started doing stuff for myself instead of thinking about what other people are going to think about my forehead, what they're going to say. And the more you start to love your insecurities, the more you will get over them. And I mean, I often get told that people with big forehead have nicer features, so that kind of helps with it. Like I said, I started to do more hairstyles with my hair up and pulling my hair back, of course with some volume in the back so I don't end up looking like an egg, but we get the gist. So I started bringing that in to my routine especially when I go to work, because I go to work quite early, come back late, so I try to squeeze in a few hairstyles here and there, exposing my forehead and make myself feel more comfortable at it. Bear in mind, it took me a good 20 to 21 years for me to start doing that, so it's not an overnight process. I have been doing this kind of work on myself over the years, and it only just recently came into place. And if, for example, if I came across someone in the streets tomorrow and I had my hair up and they made a comment about my forehead, I think I wouldn't be as offended as I would have been a couple of years ago, because I now got to a stage where I can accept my forehead for the way it is. I mean, I'm fully aware that I have a broad forehead. I mean, I can fully put 4 fingers on my forehead. I'm not in denial of that, but it's to say that I got to a stage in my life where I don't care about what other people think about it, as long as I'm happy with the way I am, which I am. So the main thing to take away from this is accept yourself for who you are, stop caring about what other people are going to think, and make fun of your own insecurities. I mean, a couple of years ago I would have never been able to say that my brother suggested having a football match on my forehead because it's so big, but now I'm actually saying this on camera. And a lot of you probably don't even know I have a large forehead, because as I've mentioned it, a lot of my pictures actually have that side of my forehead cut, but now I am able to say that on camera in front of you, which clearly shows, I don't know, self-growth, development, whatever you want to call it. Too close?
Yeah.
Now my next biggest insecurity is hyperhidrosis. Now I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with this term, but hyperhidrosis is basically excessive sweating. And I suffer from excessive sweating in my palms, my feet, and my underarms. And this is not something I like to talk about, or at least I never used to talk about, but over the years, again, it's taken me a lot of work for me to be able to say this in front of the camera. Now, what kind of struggles have I faced because of this hyperhidrosis? First of all, sweating in general is very uncomfortable, so excessive sweating is just even worse. I would try to avoid wearing tight clothes or light clothes so that you don't see massive underarm patches. I would always try to have long sleeves so I can, you know, put it like this and just like keep them dry as much as I can. I would carry around a little tub of powder to just pat my hands dry. I would have a towel as well to just dry them up quickly. So it's a big process. I mean, I don't want to go into the details, that's a whole different video. But it just really is uncomfortable having to deal with that. And to be honest, I've had that for as long as I can remember, probably over 20 years. And I have tried different methods to get rid of it. I have tried home remedies, having looked online, doesn't work, don't waste your time. I have done medical treatment, so this was back in A-levels when A-levels, I was probably, 17, 18? I don't know. But, so I had 3 sessions at my GP where you basically put your hands and your feet on plates where they have water and electric sheets where you can pass current through it. And what it does basically passes current through your hands and your feet for about 20 minutes. And the more you do those sessions, the more it keeps your sweating under control. And to be fair, this treatment worked while I was doing it, but obviously after my 3 sessions ended, they asked me to purchase that equipment so I can do it at home. And I wasn't in a position to be able to afford that equipment for me back in the days, so I kind of left that as it was. Maybe if I continued it, it would have kept things under control. I don't know. But I always think, is it really worth going through all that hassle, effort, just to keep my sweating under control? Do I need to put myself through that? I don't know. Maybe I will think about it in a few years' time. But a couple of years ago, like I said, I wouldn't even be sitting here in front of the camera talking about my hyperhidrosis, because it's just something people think is disgusting. A lot of people don't like being open about it. I just don't think it's the end of the world. I mean, if you don't want to touch my sweaty hands, just stay away from me. Simple as that. But obviously, there are situations where you can't avoid that. For example, when you are in a meeting and you are meeting someone new and I think you can tell where this is going. They extend their hand to give you a handshake and you're out here thinking, how I wish you didn't do that. Sadly, there's no way out because you don't want to seem rude and you don't want to be like, no, spud me instead, no handshake. So you lean in with the hand and you're thinking, oh my god, can my hand just dry up magically before he touches my hand? Sadly, that's not how it works. So then there's me going like this, there's him going like this, him or her, whoever wants to give me a handshake. And hi, my hand is fully sweaty and you just walk away pretending that never happened, and there's nothing worse than that kind of feeling. You kind of wish you could just go hide somewhere. That's just something that I don't think I can look past, because I will meet new people eventually. I will be nervous when I meet them, and the sweating just gets worse when you're nervous. But having said that, I feel like with these kind of things, being more open about it, being able to mention it to people before they realize that your hand is sweaty, kind of makes the situation a lot better. So with friends, for example, when they want to high five me, I would just be like, actually my hand is really sweaty, I don't think you want to touch that, so how about we go in for a spud? Or just be like, backhanded high five. I do that a lot. People think I'm weird, but only I know why I do it. And actually my friends start to know as well why I do it. I mean, I'd rather you not touch my hand while it's sweaty than you touching it, making a comment about the fact that it's sweaty, and then making me feel shit about it. So, in order to avoid all of that, what I do is just I am open about it. I tell people my hands are sweaty. I tell people I'm most likely to have underarm patches, and that way it kind of takes that power from people. So you're making fun of yourself as opposed to letting others making fun of you, and that's one of my main that's the key to this whole video. Make fun of your own insecurities before allowing someone else to do it. That way you don't give them the power to make fun of it. Instead, you make fun of yourself. I've said fun 4 times in this sentence, but that's okay, you get the point. Here's one more time. Make fun of yourself so that others can't do it, and it won't make you feel shit about it. Instead, you'll be more open to accepting things the way they are. And to be honest, these are just 2 of my main insecurities. There's so many more, but the video isn't about my insecurities, it's more about how to get over physical insecurities. Now, I always think to myself, of course, if I had a smaller forehead, I would look better. If I didn't have excessive sweating, it would make my life a lot easier. I understand that these insecurities are not ideal, but they're not a deal breaker either. I mean, the main thing is surround yourself with people who will accept those insecurities. For example, whenever I go out with my hair out, I'm always asking my partner, do you think my forehead looks big, or do you think I should leave more hair out? And he's always complimenting it. He goes, I love your forehead, I just don't think it's big, I don't know why you're overthinking it. Similarly with my sweating, I get that holding hands with your partner can get uncomfortable, especially when your hands are sweaty, but I just be open about it. I would be like, okay, just give it a few seconds, my hand is sweaty, let them dry out, or just be open about it. There's no point being shy about it, hiding it. At the end of the day, this is the person you're going to be spending the rest of your life with. So being open about it makes it a lot easier, and he's very understanding. He just, doesn't try to forcefully hold my hand or doesn't make fun of it. He's completely understanding of it. And it's the same with my siblings. When they make a comment about my sweating hands or something, I just go and rub my hand on their hands, and you know what, don't say it next time. I just take the fun out of it now, as opposed to getting offended by it, and that's how you should be looking at your own insecurities as well. I know it's easier said than done, but it's not something that you can do overnight. You've got to surround yourself with people who will accept your insecurities, accept you for who you are, and just bring positivity in general in your life. Of course, if someone is being mean about those insecurities, you don't need them in your life. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life and make yourself feel bad about it. You don't need that. So if you don't think that person is bringing anything positive into your life, cut them out. And if they don't want to go away, then keep cutting them out. In order to summarize this video, now, first of all, don't expect some quick, sexy technique that you can just do 3 times a week and will get over your insecurities, because that's not how it works. But in short, number 1 is awareness. Number 2, mindfulness. Number 3, acceptance. Start by writing down a list of all your insecurities, no matter how bad they are, because the first thing you want to do is be aware of those. Don't be in denial, because there's no point in hiding things from yourself, but write a whole list of your insecurities down. Number 2, take a moment to be mindful of those. Think about how they have a negative effect on your life. For example, taking my personal examples into perspective, how does the excessive sweating affect my daily life? Well, number 1, I get nervous about giving a handshake to someone. I try to avoid touching people when they're sweaty. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not sweaty 24/7, but when I'm nervous, when it's really hot, it doesn't help. So how do I overcome that? How do I become mindful of that? How does this affect my daily life? Well, like I said, it creates a lot of embarrassment, or it creates some awkwardness. So what do? I tell people straight up, actually, I would prefer if we didn't, high five, or if we didn't, you didn't touch my hand right now because it's sweaty. And the more I am open about it, the more I say it before they realize it, it makes it so much easier to handle it. They actually can't say anything back to that. They can't be like, oh, okay, that's weird, that's disgusting. No, they can't, because I've already acknowledged. I've made myself aware of the fact that I have sweaty hands. I'm mindful of how that affects me, and I'm accepting it by telling others about it before they do it. That's what I mean by acceptance as well. So that's really it, guys. Now, I know this is not an easy topic, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are just sitting there nodding along to the fact that you also have insecurities and you don't know how to handle them. But I hope this video actually helped you guys, and to think that I've been sitting here for over 10 minutes now, I think it's been maybe over that, talking about my main 2 insecurities that I would never have thought in a million years I would be sitting in front of a camera talking about them, says a lot about how much work I've put into it and how this has helped me over the years. So I really hope you take something out of this video, and that's it. Bye!